right, we're going to go and get things started if we can. Great to have everybody here on a somewhat cloudy day, but that's okay. We're all blessed, got a lot to be thankful for. We could be in a lot of different places, a lot worse than here. We're glad you're here. We're going to have a fun time with Hunter Yurachek today. I thank Janet and George from Simmons Bank Arena. How many were here last week when Eric Dickerson said he was cold because of the fans? So Hunter, because of my fat index, I have to have a fan to cool me off from sweating. Eric Dickerson was freezing to death in the middle of the meeting. We've never had this happen. Can we please turn off the fan? So Janet, thank you for my mini fan in case I need it. I will have that. So thank you so much. Hey, it's great to have you. Did everybody enjoy Eric Dickerson last week? Oh my gosh, he was outstanding. Hunter, no tough deal, no tough challenge. Sam Pittman, Brett Favre, Ray Lewis, Eric Dickerson. That's right. It is what it is, right?
Thanks for throwing me in there.
So one of the things that Chris Kane has been able to do for us the last couple of years, and we've shared this on social media, we like to get the reaction of our speakers right after the meeting. And I want you to listen to Ray Lewis. I think first up, I think it's Ray Lewis, Eric Dickerson, and Brett Favre. And I want you to listen and hear what they feel. And the only reason I say that is because that's because of you. It's not because of anything up here. Listen to what they say, and it's one of the reasons our Touchdown Club is one of the best, if not the best, touchdown club in America, is because what the speakers feel when they come here. Anita, if you could run that for us, please.
The experience of stopping through Little Rock is just absolutely phenomenal. The people are so homegrown. Like, it's just, everybody's lovable, and it's just beautiful. And no place is perfect. But the hospitality that I was shown at this event, first class.
Well, I think the Touchdown Club does a great job, because I asked a couple of people, and they do this like once a year. They said, no, I do it for the next 15 weeks, which is fantastic. And the crowd they have, I mean, I'm sure they had a great crowd for Ray Lewis and sure Brett Favre. So I think they do a great job.
Great experience, wonderful crowd, a lot of Packer fans. I'm a little bit surprised in Little Rock that there's that many Packer fans, but they're everywhere. But it was a great event.
How about that? Give yourself a round of applause. That's a reflection of you. Hunter, a lot of times they go to Touchdown Club meetings in Mobile and Atlanta, and people fall asleep. Members out there falling asleep. They're doing it at night and stuff, not our group. And our group, listen, they expect you to bring it today. They know, listen, they've heard you before. They expect you to bring that same level of energy Ray Lewis had and Brett Favre and Eric Dickerson. You don't have to talk about any gold Trans Ams like Eric Dickerson did. It's all legal now. This is all good. At this point, we want to bring up our official minister of the Touchdown Club. He's referred to as a pigskin preacher. His name is Chuck Monan. He's the minister at Pinnacle Church of Christ. If you don't have a church home, go check it out. Chuck, will you come up and lead us in a word of prayer?
Let's pray together. Father, we're thankful that we could be in a lot worse places than this, but that we're here. We're grateful for the fellowship, for the camaraderie that we have at the Touchdown Club with so many friends. Father, we're thankful for the food and for the health that we enjoy. We're thankful that Hunter could be with us. We appreciate the good work he's doing on the Hill. And with all of these student athletes, we pray your continued blessings to be with him and his family. And we pray that you be with us through the further exercises of this time. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thanks, Chuck. I didn't realize, Anita, could you pan out a little bit? This is sort of this is scary, Hunter Yurachek. Good Lord. You're yelling at an official. So one lucky member is going to get this, to win this today. And he can put it there to scare away the squirrels or whatever, but here we go. The number is 973-417. 973-417. You did not win this again, Kevin. You did this last week. You must be buying a lot of raffle tickets. All the money goes to the Touchdown Club. Give it up for Kevin Brooks for winning this thing. Very nice. I'll remind everybody, mute your phones if you can. Remember, you can watch online at myarkansaspbs.org, lrtouchdown.com, our YouTube page, Facebook, Twitter. We'll be live on 103.7 The Buzz here shortly as well. I do want to thank our sponsors. We do this every week, and I know a lot of people go, well, you know, you have to do that every week. We sure do, because we wouldn't be what we are without our sponsors. Starting with Simmons Bank over to my left. Great to have Chris White and Jason Culpepper at the head table. Our man Tommy May, great to see Tommy when he was able to make it to the Touchdown Club. I heard that the golf tournament in Nashville went well. Last week, the Simmons Bank Open. And Rex, you know, October 21 through the 27th, you got Simmons Bank Championship presented by Stevens at Pleasant Valley. And that is turning into a monster event. If you haven't heard it, call Simmons and get involved. It's a really great deal. $27 billion in assets. I asked Hunter, I said, Hunter, is there any more room on the field for any logos? You know, you got Tyson, you got Walmart, and then what'd you say? You
can only have two, but the stadium's available.
Stadium naming is available, he says. And Rex, you remember there was a history of this, that Simmons Bank Arena used to be Verizon Bank Arena, put it out there. Remember, Janet and Michael, you said, we're looking for a sponsor? Chris, you called me. Yeah, Chris, I know, you're Liberty Bowl too, but Chris called me and said, give me the number to the Verizon folks. And the next thing you know, it's Simmons Bank Arena. So I don't know what magic could happen here. I'm just saying, Hunter, who knows? But thanks so much to Simmons Bank and what they do. I mentioned Stevens, nation's largest family-owned financial service firm, privately held by the Stevens family. We've been talking about it, the Arkansas Museum of Fine Arts, beyond the F1 circuit, artistry and speed with Williams Racing. It goes from now to the 22nd. It's so cool. Go by and check it out. It's a replica of a Williams racing car, driver's race suit and helmet. It also shows the amazing art center that we have here. The improvements, $175 million, are absolutely stunning. So go by and check them out. Great to have, obviously, the support of Warren Stevens, and great to see Curtis Jeffries and Warren Simpson here. 2 meetings in a row. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do here with you guys being here. Great to have you guys. Thanks to Stevens. Oakland Hot Springs, Lewis Sella and Wayne Smith could not be here, Hunter, but obviously you know their support of the U of A. Obviously cut a check for $500,000 a few weeks ago to the athletic department. Yeah, that's worth a round of applause. Zach Gillum is here, who's in charge of all the sports wagering. He actually participated in the Coach Cal fantasy camp. He said he can't walk. He hadn't been able to walk for 2 days, but Coach Cal was outstanding. But Zach, thanks so much. Appreciate Oakland. Download the Oakland Sports app and get going today. I promise I'll bounce back on my bets this week. Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings. If you have a business that's dealing with government and industry regulations, the Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings team can get you handled. They have all the know-how. They can figure out federal, state, or local level stuff. Let them handle the red tape. You focus on your business. Randy Bynum is here. He can answer all the things when it comes to regulatory and government questions. So thanks so much to Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings for their sponsorship. You know, it's funny, when you look at those numbers, Simmons Bank, 121 years old. Stevens, 91 years old. Oakland, 119 years old. And Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings, 124 years old. Is that not something? Let's give a round of applause to 4 of our outstanding businesses. And we got Crane Automotive. Christian Crane, I've been seeing you in the TV commercials. Very nice. Good to get a young man in there looking good. 24,000 cars you're on pace to sell in 2024. 20 dealerships. Check them out. Tell them that you're a supporter of the Touchdown Club. They'll take real good care of you at any of the Crane Automotive dealerships. Sissy's Log Cabin, Bill and Sherry Jones, huge Razorback supporters, as you know, Hunter, along with Jim Englehorn. Rex, Sissy Jones is going to be honored at the 29th Annual Arkansas Children's Award Dinner. She has a history of caring for at-risk children, dedication to giving back, and, of course, a commitment to family values. And I've been a part of that banquet with Governor Beebe for a long time, so congratulations to Sissy, very well deserved. Double B's owner Steve Lytle and GM Ed Light, appreciate them. 34 locations across the state. Gas it, grab it, and go. Thank you to them. Summerwood Sports, yeah, if you want to put on a cool event, practice, party, you name it, go to summerwoodsports.com. Thanks to the Hendricks family and their support of the Touchdown Club. It's truly one of the really nicest sports complexes in the South. Roller Funeral Homes, Renato Jenkins Byler, been involved with the Touchdown Club for many, many years. 24 locations across the state. No one would take better care of you. Check them out at rollerfuneralhomes.com. Advantage Service Company, somehow the GM, Kevin Brooks, continues to win our deal each week, but Kevin is a great guy. I appreciate him. Very trustworthy for all your HVAC, plumbing, and electrical needs. 40 years in the business. Give Advantage Service Company a call. Arkansas Democrat Gazette, Wally Hall and Amanda Copley. Wally's wearing his little beanie hat today, Wally. I like that. Very nice. Wally, listen, Wally's still writing articles every week. Great to see the guy still getting after it. Appreciate him. And It's been fun, Amanda, to be able to get our All Arkansas Preps Player of the Week. Got a good one here today, plus a whole coaching staff. So thanks to the Democrat Gazette. I read it every morning, the digital edition. Hatcher Agency, Twin City Limo, couldn't do it without Greg Hatcher, one of the state's top producing employee benefits agencies, not only in Arkansas, but around the country. Do outstanding work. Popeye does a great job picking up all of our guests. We appreciate him. Thanks to Greg Hatcher. Simmons Bank Arena just announced morning show, my co-host in the morning with Roger. Justin Moore is coming to Simmons Bank Arena Saturday, January 18th. Excited about that. Tickets go on sale next Friday. The Globetrotters are coming January 25th, and one of Rex's favorites at Simmons Bank Arena, Monster Jam, is coming back February 22nd, 23rd. Bring earplugs. Thanks to Pulaski County Farm Bureau, Todd Dennis and Stephen Reichard. Great service, great rates, delivering the Farm Bureau promise for 80 years in Pulaski County. We appreciate them. Great game at War Memorial. Bryant Parkview. Bryant is for real. I'm telling you, Bryant got a little revenge against Parkview last year, but it's great to see War Memorial still being used for great games, high school games like that. Thank you to them. Arkansas Urology, appreciate them. Obviously, this is the 20th annual kickoff to Men's Health. The guys get tested. They're doing free screenings tonight in El Dorado on September 19th, North Little Rock. Little Rock, September 26th. Please put it on your list to get checked. It could save your life. Thanks to Chris Shinup for his support. He's the director of the Arkansas Urology Foundation. 103.7 The Buzz. We're the only touchdown club in America, Hunter, that does all these streams, also carries the broadcast live throughout the state. So thanks to the support of our station CEO, Terry Mahan, as I mentioned, Roger Scott, and his support for what we do and what I do with this touchdown club over the years. AY Media, still some of these great magazines from our 20th anniversary, the 20th anniversary edition that Heather Baker did. Amazing stuff here. Love her support of the club. Just got back from an island visit over the weekend so she could be back for the touchdown club meeting. So thanks to AY Media. Arkansas PBS, Hunter, I don't know if you know, but we have a new partnership with them. It's really cool. Again, the only touchdown club in America that does this. We're partnering with Arkansas PBS, and they're bringing all their expertise to share this streaming all over the state to people who sometimes don't get a chance to see this. And so thanks to Courtney Pledger and Anita, Brian, Kevin, Tanisha, all in the back. You guys do a great job. Thank you as well. And the number one hotel when it comes to Touchdown Club is the DoubleTree Hotel. Nobody does it better. And how about last week, Alicia Rose, they say Alicia Rose. I know Alicia Dover. I called you by your maiden name. Alicia Dover, we had a problem with the stream last week, and she spent all afternoon getting out all those Eric Dickerson tweets. And so she's doing a great job getting out all of her social media. Really appreciate her with JF Media Marketing. Call her if you need any help with marketing, promotions, PR, or social media. That's a lot of sponsors, but we can't do it without them. Let's give a big round of applause to all of them. Thank you so much. You know what's coming. You know what's coming. There's something coming. There's somebody I left out. Thanks to Dwayne Duncan, Chris Kane, RJ Hawk, all the folks who volunteer. By the way, we haven't done this yet this year. If you're a volunteer, if you're one of the many volunteers, Hunter, nobody has as many volunteers that come, get here at 9:30 without pay to set all this up and give everybody. If you're a volunteer, ladies and gentlemen, please stand and let's give all of our volunteers, along with Debbie Wyman, our executive director. Come on, guys, get up in the back. There we go. You can't do this with 400 people or with Brett Favre with 1,000 without volunteers like that. We appreciate them. Nobody does it better. So that's why we've got the best touchdown club in America. That's why everybody wants to know what we're doing, is because of the backbone there of our volunteers. All right, RJ Hawk, it's time for our All Arkansas Prep Player of the Week. He's got his whole coaching staff here in addition to his family. Come up and introduce our Player of the Week.
Thank you, David. It's been a trend here recently over the last few years for our high schools in Arkansas to play out of state and play bigger and better nationally ranked competition, and it's no different for Pulaski Academy. The last 2 weeks, they've played a team out of Madison. It was Madison Ridgeland. They came to Pulaski Academy. And then this past week, they played a team out of Louisiana and Monroe. And our Player of the Week just dominated. He showed why he was one of the best in the entire country with these numbers. And let me start with the Madison Ridgeland game. And Hunter, you need to tell Coach Pittman to be on the watch for this kid because he is unreal. Against Madison Ridgeland, 23 of 42 for 297 yards and 3 touchdowns. But he also ran for 13 times for 204 yards and 4 touchdowns. So he had 7 touchdowns. He accrued over 500 total yards of offense in that game. They beat Madison 60-36. Well, then you fast forward and say, there's no way he can do this again, right? There is absolutely no way he can do it again. Well, he says, hold my drink, we're going to do it again. He goes, against Monroe, he says, 27 of 48 for 346 and 6 touchdowns. And he ran 15 times for 103 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he accounted for 8 touchdowns and almost 500 yards of total offense in a 67-47 win over Monroe. And so if you think about it, in 2 weeks, he's thrown for 55%. He's thrown for almost 700 yards. He's ran for almost 300 yards. And he's had 15 touchdowns in 2 weeks. His mom, Brandy, his dad, Chris, are here. But the thing he told me, he said, I really want to talk about the most is his entire offensive line is here to support him today. Where's his offensive line at? Where are they at? You guys stand up. The Pulaski Academy offensive line, they're right over here. And his head coach, Anthony Lucas, is here, as well as his offensive coordinator, Adam Thrash. Your All-Arkansas Preps Player of the Week is quarterback Brandon Cobb.
Tall drink of water right there. 6'4". I love when a school does what they do. Not every school can get their kids out to come here. Love the offensive line is here. Love the fact you guys were willing to do that. And most importantly, I got to give the coaching staff that's here. PA has always been a big supporter of the Touchdown Club. But it's so great to have Anthony Lucas, who was a teammate of Brett Favre. Got a chance to see Brett briefly. I think you passed him in the training room your rookie year, right? But there's not a better guy on the planet, not only coaching, but leading young man than that guy, Anthony Lucas. Let's give it up for him, one of the best Razorbacks of all time. It's always great to have your staff, your administration. I know they're all here, and we appreciate them, really do. All right, Rex, come on up. Nobody doesn't like Rex Nelson. Give it up for Rex Nelson, everybody, our weekend recap.
Thanks, David. We will start with Arkansas 37, UAB 27. Coach Sam Pittman said, and I quote, "We can't compete in the SEC playing like we did. We've got to do better." Hunter, however, said, you need to concentrate on the fact the Hogs went on a 27-3 run in that football game. So we will do that today. Andrew Armstrong has caught at least one pass now in 30 consecutive games. Pretty impressive, going back to 2021 when he played at Texas A&M at Commerce over in East Texas. That was UAB's 23rd consecutive loss to an SEC opponent. UAB is 2-29 all time with victories at LSU in 1999 and at Mississippi State in 2004. So they've done it before. Arkansas ended up outgaining UAB 427 to 354. In the third quarter, however, when Arkansas was dominant, it was Arkansas 177 to just 34 yards for UAB. Now, SEC time, and I think we all agree, Auburn is a beatable team. Auburn is a beatable team even on the Plains, especially if Arkansas plays like it did for most of the game at Stillwater. Hunter, I pick all of the Arkansas teams in Division I and Division II every week on the Arkansas Democrat Gazette website. I am 22-0 right now through the first 3 weeks of the season. I pick it straight up, but 22-0. I'm picking the Hogs on Saturday, so do not let me down. I think they bounce back. Arkansas State 2-1 following a 28-18 loss to Michigan in the Big House, but they acquitted themselves pretty well, didn't they? Michigan ran the ball 44 of 62 plays. They ran the ball so much because every time they passed the ball, pigskin. They were passing to an Arkansas State defender, it seemed like. Quarterback Timmy McClain, a transfer from Central Florida, came in during the fourth quarter for the Red Wolves and threw 2 TD passes. He was 7 of 11 passing for 82 yards in that fourth quarter. So we know the Red Wolves now have 2 good quarterbacks. UCA also 2-1, following its 45-17 victory over Austin P. Shunderick Powell from Hoxie rushed for 173 yards on 22 carries, caught 4 passes, scored 3 touchdowns. Meanwhile, Darius Hale for the Bears carried 14 times for another 146 yards and 2 TDs. A real 1-2 punch there at running back. This is a UCA team that could go very deep in the FCS playoffs later this year. Keep an eye on them. So Arkansas State, UCA, all 2-1 through 3 weeks of the season. In the Southern Heritage Classic at Memphis, UAPB fell to 1-2, a 41-28 loss to Tennessee State. Remember last week when I told you that the 6 Arkansas teams in the Great American Conference went 6-0 against the Oklahoma teams in the first week? They go 6-0 again against Oklahoma in the second week. So here are the GAC standings. 6 Arkansas schools tied for first at 6-0. 6 Oklahoma schools tied for last at 0-6. That is literally the conference standings right now. Number 1 in the nation, Harding, 59, Oklahoma Baptist, 7. The Bison winning streak is now 21 games. Harding had 427 rushing yards. Get this, they are so deep with that option offense. They had 11 running backs with double-digit rushing yards, 11. Ouachita, 56, Northwestern Oklahoma, 2. Ouachita defense has yet to allow a touchdown this year. Its offense finished with a 535 to 134 edge in total offense. Kendall Gibbons, running back out of Little Rock Christian, carried 18 times, 145 yards. Henderson, 34. Southeastern Oklahoma, 17. Andrew Edwards threw for 3 TDs as the Reddies defeated Southeastern for a 13th consecutive time. Edwards, a really good quarterback, 34 of 43 passing for 443 yards. UAM, I told you there's nothing more evil than that dang boll weevil last week. UAM 39, Southwestern Oklahoma 28. Boll Weevils trailed 28-10, but scored the game's final 29 points. Their quarterback, DeMylon Brown, 16 of 22 passing, 205 yards. Arkansas Tech, 26. Southern Nazarene, 6. So a Tech team that opened last year 0-4 opens this year 2-0. Another good quarterback, Ethan Everson. He threw for 344 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was 23 of 33 passing. And the Mule Riders of Southern Arkansas, 28, East Central Oklahoma 20. Mule Riders used a 28-2 or led 28-2 in the second quarter and then hung on for dear life at the end. Both of our Division III schools lost. McMurray beat Line 48-6 out at War Memorial Stadium. East Texas Baptist beat Hendricks 63-28. Both Line and Hendricks are 1-1 on the season. All right, real quickly, we'll run through the SEC. Hunter, you've got to quit adding teams. 16's wearing me out. I don't have this much air. But the game of the day, probably in college football, LSU finally scores to go ahead with 1:12 left in the game. South Carolina misses a field goal. LSU had trailed 17-0 early in that game in Columbia. That's 8 in a row for the Tigers over South Carolina. Georgia was number 1. They're now number 2 in the AP poll because they struggled. Georgia 13, Kentucky 12 as the Bulldogs moved to 3-0. How about the term they're using now? It's Arch Madness down in Texas. Texas 56, UTSA 7. Arch Manning passes for 4 touchdowns, runs for 67 yards for another touchdown after replacing Quinn Ewers, who was injured. I think it's evident after 3 weeks Texas has the best talent. That doesn't mean they win the SEC, but I think they're the deepest, most talented team in the SEC. Alabama made the Southeastern Conference look good, didn't they? They go up to Big Ten country, Camp Randall Stadium, and they spank Wisconsin. 42-10, Jalen Milroe, 3 TDs. He threw 4, he ran for 2 more. Ole Miss 40, Wake Forest 6, Jackson Dart passed for 377 yards and 2 TDs. Missouri 27, Boston College 21, as Brady Cook passed for a touchdown and ran for another. Tennessee 71, Kent State nothing. The final there, Tennessee keeps getting better it seems. Oklahoma beats a good Tulane team 34-19. This week's opponent, Auburn, 45-19 over New Mexico. The Aggies beat Florida 33-20. The Gators fall to 1-2, and the Billy Napier death watch continues. Michael Marion is here today, and I hate to even give this score. Toledo, holy Toledo, 41, Mississippi State 17. Shouldn't be losing to Toledo when you're in the SEC. Georgia State 36, Vanderbilt 32. Shouldn't be losing to Georgia State when you're in the SEC. All right, this week, Thursday night game, Harding at UAM. It is worth the road trip, folks, to watch that Harding offense. Then on Saturday, we've got UCA at UAPB. We've got Ouachita at SAU. We've got Arkansas Tech at Henderson, Southwestern of Texas at Hendricks, and Howard Payne, hope he brings some teammates with him, at Line. And so, games in Pine Bluff, Monticello, Magnolia, Arkadelphia, Conway, and Batesville. Know what that means? No excuses. Get out and see some college football this weekend, folks. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Rex. A couple things. Apparently, RJ, we may have left out the grandparents of Brandon Cobb. Are they here? Where are they at? Let's give a round of applause for the grandparents who are here today. Thank you back. I know why you're back there in the back. You should be up front. You're probably running the show anyway, aren't you, in the back? It's great to have you all here. Also, too, I saw Freddie Marshall. You know, Freddie Marshall, Hunter, is going to be one of our speakers. We're going to have Freddie Marshall. It's the obviously 60th anniversary of the of the national championship. Ken Hatfield and Barry Switzer, all 3 of those together. Where's Freddie at? Freddie's already working on his comments. He's already working on it. Get Freddie Marshall down there, everybody. Look at that. He's showing his ring. He's showing his ring. Nobody else can show a ring. Dang straight. Nobody else has that. And Lewis Nally, thank you so much. Another Razorback who helps us set up every week. We appreciate you, brother. Need to recognize a couple folks from the U of A who were here before we bring up Hunter. From the Razorback Foundation, we have the executive director. Please stand when I call your name, Ryan White, along with Alicia Curtis, who is the director of development for the Little Rock office. Let's give them both a round of applause for Ryan and Alicia. And our good friend Kevin Traynor. You know, I played with his brother Kendall, one of the greatest kickers in the history of the U of A. Kevin Traynor is in his 30th year with the University of Arkansas. He's the Chief Public Relations Officer for Vice Chancellor and Director of Athletics, Hunter Yurachek. He's a member of Hunter's leadership cabinet and senior staff. He's in charge of the department's engagement with former student athletes in all sports, including the A Club. But this is the one I always love. Kevin coordinates the department's executive and crisis management communications. Now, if there is anybody on the planet who has handled more crisis management at the U of A over the last 30 years, it's that guy. Give it up for Kevin Traynor, everybody. I'm telling you, he could write a book and it would be a bestseller. I'm just telling you. He knows where all the bodies are buried for every sport. Good Lord, you could go decade by decade over the last 30 years. It's exhausting. Anyway, great to have Kevin and Ryan and Alicia here. All right, it is time to bring up Hunter. We will go to our man Steve Sullivan at KD for his official introduction. And make sure you pay attention to the very end of this intro. Anita, please.
Thrilled now to officially introduce our next Razorback Athletics Director, Hunter Yurachek.
What Hunter Yurachek has done in his almost 7 years on the job is amazing. 36 SEC championships over the past 6 years. And this year, his Razorback athletics program secured a first. They finished in the top 20 of the Learfield rankings, which are the overall college rankings, for a program record 4th straight year. Hog athletes also excelling academically. A cumulative grade point of 3.2, and 72 Hog athletes graduated this past year. Hunter has also become a big player nationally. He's a member of the prestigious College Football Playoff Committee. He's also served on the NCAA Oversight Committee and the Football Competition Committee. And he's had a knack for surprising coaching hires. Hunter will tell you that his newest title is his favorite. He's Pops to grandson Trace. Please welcome Pops, Arkansas Athletic Director Hunter Yurachek.
Can you do this stuff?
Well, you know, Hunter always has something up his sleeve when he comes to the Touchdown Club. But after seeing Sully's intro, we thought it was only appropriate that we get a couple gifts here for Hunter. Obviously, both of these are for his newest addition to his family. There you go. This is for Trace, littlest Razorback fan. Yeah, that's exactly right. And one more. This is another cute one. We expect to see little Trace wearing that right there. How about that, everybody?
There you go. Thank you. Well, that's a shock. That'll bring a tear to Pop's eyes for sure to see his grandson that lives in Columbia, South Carolina. Thank you for that, David. Holy smokes. It is indeed another great day to be an Arkansas Razorback, is it not? Brandon, stand up. Did Brandon leave? Stand up. Anthony, great job with his belt right there. I'm sure that was you right there. If you can't see it, it's a Razorback belt. That's not an NIL deal. He wore that on his own, by the way. Okay. Congratulations. Some unbelievable games. And to credit your offensive line, it's pretty smart of you because they won't block for you if you don't invite them to lunch, right? Well, it certainly was an exciting weekend on the Hill as the Hogs dominated UAB 37-21. Hey, it was a win. I just want to remind everybody, we won 37-27, by the way. Not only was it a great weekend on the field, we had a chance to welcome 9 new members into the UA Sports Hall of Fame, including Kareem Reed and Matt Jones and our own baseball coach, Dave Van Horn. And we also honored before the game many of our Razorback Olympians who represented countries across the world in the 2024 games in Paris. And if you're on campus, you notice the traffic and the atmosphere all day long on Saturday because we celebrated Family Weekend as well. And so just a great weekend on the Hill. David, as always, I want to thank you for thanking me and thanking everybody else in the room prior to the game. If you were not thanked by David before this, I'm sorry. You got to step up a little bit. Holy smokes. Sully, I always appreciate the great introduction. I think I may pay you a retainer and bring you on the road with me, or at least bring you to my home, and you can do that introduction before I enter the house every night for Jennifer, because she doesn't give me that type of credit for sure. Rex, I don't know what your deal was today. I felt you were a little off. Were you a little off? I mean, I think we've all seen some really bad public speaking in the last week for sure, and I know this is not a debate, so we're not going to talk about fracking or eating cats or anything like that, but I was trying to figure out what may have caused you to be a little bit off, and I know what it is now. You know, I'm not sure you had a plan for your recap, but you had at least a basic concept of a plan for your recap. Yeah. All right. Well, it's always great to be back here at the Little Rock Touchdown Club. And once again, in your 20th anniversary, David, you have outdone yourself with the Hall of Fame lineup of players and coaches and broadcasters. And as you mentioned later on, you're going to have Coach Switzer and Ken Hatfield and Freddie Marshall and relive that magical 1964 national championship game. And we're going to look forward to honoring that team prior to the Texas game later this season. And each year, David, your lineup seems to get a little bit better, which is great unless you're the speaker that follows Eric Dickerson and Ray Lewis and Brett Favre. So I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about what I spend most of my time thinking about, and that's NIL. And I was thinking about, for your first 5 speakers, what their potential NIL deals would have looked like if that had been in existence when they were playing. And so we've got a little game we're going to put up on the screen here in just a minute and play. So can you guys bring that up, the first slide? So Little Rock Touchdown Club. And nothing that David does could not have a sponsor. So the sponsor of this game, as we get it, is going to be, hold on just a second for this, Altman's 24-hour temp service agency. Altman's will be in and out in less than 24 hours, and you won't even know we were there. Does everybody get that? Apparently not. Okay. All right. Let's bring it up the first one. So guess the guest. Again, this is NIL deals. All right. The first one, we got a 12-pack of Pabst Blue Ribbon and a black belt. Who would that have been? Sam Pittman. It's a guess. I heard Sam Pittman. Let's roll it. Wait a minute. They're supposed to fill in the pictures. Where are the pictures, Kevin? All right. Sam Pittman was the answer to the number 1. Okay? Sam asked me to give this to you. I don't know. All right. The next one is a gold Trans Am and a nice leather briefcase, probably with about $1 million in it. Eric Dixon, that was actually a legitimate NIL deal back then, by the way. Next one, a Mississippi riverboat in a burlap bag full of money. Brett Favre. If this presentation was actually working, we'd have the pictures of these people from their playing days. All right, a Miami nightclub, a silver suitcase full of money and some gold jewelry. Ray Lewis. That's correct. The last one, a 3-piece dinner at Bojangles and a burlap bag full of pennies. That'd be Hunter Yurachek. All right, thanks for playing. We'll try to get that to work right the next time. So before David comes up for a Q&A, it's hard to believe watching that press conference, and I'm just getting ready to finish up my 7th full year as a director of athletics at the University of Arkansas, and it is truly an honor and a privilege and a blessing for me to serve as a director of athletics, and it is a blessing that I thank God for each and every day, and one that I do not take for granted, because this is such a special place and such a special state to serve as a director of athletics. And we talk about day in and day out as a staff, coaches, support staff, assistant coaches, about the success of our student athletes. And I tell our staff, and I think we're all on the same page with this, when our student athletes have success, we will have success as a department of athletics. Our success does not come before our student athlete success. When they have success, we'll have success as a department. And so in the last 6 years, Arkansas has won 36 Southeastern Conference championships among 11 different sports. We have 19 total sports. People say, well, it's just your track and field program. That's not true. 11 different sports in the past 6 years have won a Southeastern Conference championship. 28 in the past 4 years. Both of those lead the SEC during those respective time periods. In fact, if you go back in the last 6 years, in our 36, you could combine the bottom 6 schools in the SEC, and they don't reach 36 collectively. In fact, there's one just north of here that still has not won an SEC conference championship in the past 6 years. I didn't name any names. I just gave you a direction. In 23-24, Arkansas secured a top 20 national finish in the Learfield Directors Cup for the 4th consecutive year. That's the first time in the history of our athletic program that we've been in the top 20 in the Learfield Directors Cup for 4 consecutive years. And I think you've heard me talk about that. And if you haven't, the Learfield Directors Cup is a metric that measures 350 Division I schools and how all of their sports finish on an annual basis. And so you get a point system by how your sports finish. And there's 20 sports that generally fit into that metric. Well, we only have 19 sports, so we're already missing one calculation in the metric, and we still are finishing in the top 20 nationally on a regular basis, and that's a testament to our student athletes. In addition, last year we won 2 national championships, more than every other SEC school, 5-1-1, 8-1-0. We won 5 SEC championships and had 1 divisional championship. Kevin likes me to throw in that divisional championship because that was baseball, the sport he oversees. But those 5 led the SEC again. We had 9 of our 19 teams that finished in the top 10 nationally, led the SEC. We had 14 of our 19 sports that finished ranked in the top 25 last year, led the SEC. I think you're getting a theme. And then back in August, we had 25 Razorback athletes that represented countries across the world in the Paris Olympic Games. This is both current and former Razorback student athletes. We had 14 medal winners, 7 gold medals, 4 silver medals, and 3 bronze medals. This brings our total Razorback Olympic athlete number to 97. How about that? And 24-25 is off to a similar start. So far, we have 7 teams that are competing right now. 6 of those 7s are ranked nationally in the top 25. Women's golf is ranked 7th. Men's golf is ranked 17th. Men's cross country is 3rd. Women's cross country is 13th. Our soccer program is currently undefeated and ranked 4th in the country and leading the country in scoring. Our volleyball team is currently ranked 19th. They're off to a 9-1 start, and that's on the heels of their Elite 8 appearance last year. And football is 2-1. Football is 2-1, okay? And it was great to be back in Central Arkansas to open up the season. What a great night over at War Memorial Stadium as we played Pine Bluff, and we appreciate our friends at War Memorial Stadium and the great job they did in putting together a fantastic night. Then we went on the road and played a nationally ranked Oklahoma State, and we beat their butts in every category but the one that truly matters, and that's the scoreboard. But I think we learned a lot about our team in that game, and we made some mistakes for sure, and we had some bad football luck in that game as well. When you talk about a kid getting blocked in to the legs of one of our returners and our quarterback getting hit on a pass that goes right to the linebacker that's 3 feet behind the guy he's supposed to be guarding and runs it back for a touchdown. And so we made some mistakes, but we also had some unfortunate things that happened that game didn't turn out our way. And then this weekend, let's put it bluntly, we came out flat. UAB punched us in the mouth. They got up 17-3. But in the past, I don't think our teams would have responded like they did on a 27-3 run to take command of that game 30-20 and then win 37-27. First and foremost, and most importantly, I want to repeat it, we won the game. Did you guys know we didn't punt that whole game? It sure didn't feel like it, did it? We didn't punt one time in the whole game. We had some solid individual performances on both sides of the ball, but unfortunately, football is a team sport, and it is the greatest team sport where 11 guys on both sides of the ball need to be working together and having solid performances, and we didn't get a solid performance as a team. And that's a learning opportunity for our players and a teaching moment for Coach Pittman and his staff as we head into our prep for Auburn this week. And things change a little bit when you go and start playing in the SEC. If you've looked at the polls lately, there's 6 SEC teams in the top 10 and 9 in the top 25. But going on the road in Stillwater and playing a team like Oklahoma State early in the season will prepare us for that. And so I think you will see that our team that played at Oklahoma State will be the one that shows up Saturday down at Auburn, and I think you can expect a great game from the Razorbacks. Not promising a win, but I think you'll be really proud of the way we play, and if we play the way we did at Oklahoma State, we will have a chance to win that game in the fourth quarter, and at some point in time, the football guys are going to shine on us again, right? All right, David, can I have my belt back? My pants are falling down. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. You're up.
Okay, let's see. We'll make this quick. First of all, Coach, I got to say, we talked about the last 3 touchdown club speakers. We saw 3 of the greatest football players in the history of the NFL that came to Little Rock. I think it's fair to say, if you looked at what Hunter Yurachek has accomplished in his 7 years, and where he's at. You know, he's on the National Playoff Committee now. He's doing all these things. You look at the what's the name of the group that the top, if you're the top sports department in terms of winning the Learfield Directors Cup, if you look at that, this is one of the top athletic directors in America. Would you agree? No question. And I think a part of that, Hunter, is a couple things. Doing things to make sure your students have the best chance for success, facilities, all things, but also is making great hires. So the first hire I want to go to, I need a number 4 if we can, and this was something in December. This was a hire that really just gave a jolt to the university, to the state of Arkansas in terms of just, you know, the right time at the right place. And obviously you've seen what he's done so far. Then the next hire that you make, number 6 if you can, Anita, you raise the bar, well, not that one, yes, not that one. But you raise the bar with Coach Cal, and those 2 hires are about as good as you can do in terms of making a fan base happy. Just maybe some reflections on those 2 hires.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, the Bobby Petrino hire, that's Sam Pittman's hire. I do not hire assistant coaches for any of our sports programs, so I helped Sam facilitate that. When we obviously had an open in our offensive staff, they had made some changes at Texas A&M. Coach Petrino reached out to some intermediaries to Coach Pittman and myself, and it was something that Coach Pittman had to be comfortable with, because obviously, you know, people are going to speculate that I made him hire him and Bobby's going to be our next head coach, etc. That's not at all the case, and I credit Sam for not being intimidated by that and knowing that he had an opportunity to hire one of the best, if not the best, offensive coordinators in the country, and that's exactly what he did, and I think you have seen the results of that for the better part of the 3 games we played so far this year. Coach Cal, that was my hire. I'll take the credit for that. It was interesting because I think you've all heard the story. Mr. Tyson had reached out to me with a recommendation of a coach, and then he said, oh, by the way, if you'd like to talk to Coach Cal about some of the candidates for your position, I think I could arrange that. Well, it just so happened that I was in CFP meetings in Phoenix. Coach Cal was in Phoenix for the Final Four, and we spoke on the phone on a Thursday night, and the phone call went well enough that we decided to coordinate a meeting at his hotel room there in Phoenix. And if you haven't heard this story, it's pretty funny. I said, well, Coach, how am I going to know what hotel room you're at? And he said, Hunter, when you get to the Hilton, he said, there'll be a guy out front in a Phillies hat. Just look for him, and he'll tell you where to go. So I'm with one of our staff members and one of our board members, and we pull up to the hotel, and I'm like, you guys see anybody in a Phillies hat? And sure enough, there's a gentleman in shorts and a flip-flops and a black Phillies hat. And it's like, well, that's not quite what I expected. But so I kind of gave him a little look, and he came up to me and said, you Hunter? I said, I am. And he just shook my hand and whispered in.
Check.
And whispered in my ear 523, and in the handshake was the digital room key that he gave me, and then he just walked away. And so, you know, Coach Cal's got a little Italian blood in him, so I'm kind of thinking there's a Sopranos thing going on here maybe, you know. So I put the key at the door when I get up there, and I open the door and kind of push it, and I say, hey, Coach, you in here, Coach? And there's no plastic on the floor, so I thought it was good. So Coach and I had a great meeting for a couple of hours, and I asked him the question as we were talking about other candidates. I said, Coach, why not you? I said, if Arkansas, you're telling me what a great job it is, what a great fan base it is, what a great history we have. I said, why wouldn't you be interested in a job as someone that seems to need a change where they're coaching at? And sure enough, he left and thought about it through the weekend and decided that this was the right place for him to take a next step to be the head men's basketball coach. And he hasn't stopped running since he got here. He's put together a great team because, I mean, he's joked, but he literally had no one in the locker room for the team meeting that day. He didn't have a schedule, and he's just done a phenomenal job, and he's a professional, and he pushes the right buttons at the right time. And I am ready for basketball season to tip off here in the next 60 days.
You know, I was wondering, what is the trickle-down effect? What is the trickle-down effect, Hunter, of that hire? Do you see that affecting other parts of the department? Does it affect NIL? There's a perception of, you obviously you still have NIL money you have to find to pay the players, but what's been the trickle-down effect of the Cal hire, or has there been one throughout the rest of the department, or the perception of the Arkansas Athletic Department?
I think the trickle-down effect, and I think it's felt within our department, and I think it's felt throughout our state. I saw a great sense of pride from people across the state, kind of, holding your chest out a little bit, holding your head up high because someone, a Hall of Fame coach, Coach John Calipari, would come to the University of Arkansas to be our men's basketball coach. And I think it gave us all a great sense of pride. And I think for our coaching staff, our other head coaches, they understand that we are serious about being successful in all of our sports, and hiring somebody like Coach Cal and making that investment was surely a sign of that.
The slide that I was going to show, so that's what I was just having some fun with this. You saw it a minute ago. I was going to make an example. This was Hunter Yurachek before NIL, and this is Hunter Yurachek after NIL. The reality is that's your first year at Houston, I'll just be honest. And that was, I think, during the COVID year when you allowed yourself not to shave. But I did want to say, what has it been like being an athletic director in this crazy world of NIL? Sort of what's the latest, and what's it been like to try to navigate through this craziness?
Well, that picture's not too far off. That explains what it's been like. I mean, it has been terrible. It's been awful. NIL, the way it was intended, July 1st of 2021, that if a student athlete had a value to their name, image, or likeness, and there was a business, product, or service, like one of these many businesses up here, that wanted to use a student athlete to market their business, product, or service, well, they could receive compensation, valid compensation to do that. And that's how this all started. And our student athletes in their first year did an incredible job going out and knocking on doors and beating the bushes, and they generated almost $2.5 million in what I will call was legitimate NIL agreements that they went out and got on their own. But in college athletics, we are our own worst enemy, and we find the loophole to every single rule in the rule book. And we found a loophole where we created these things called collectives. And collectives are donors pooling their resources together to pay student athletes, collectives under the auspice of doing work, charitable work, whether that was tweeting about a charitable organization or signing autographs or making public appearances. But the amounts of money that were getting paid were simply ridiculous, and still are ridiculous, and they just continue to be ridiculous. And because when businesses are making decisions, you make good business decisions, right? If you're going to hire a student athlete to market your business, you're going to pay them market value. Well, collectives aren't paying market value, they're just buying teams. And so that figure has grown to just a ridiculous number, and athletic directors are charged many times with going out and raising those dollars through various means. And now we've finally gotten their footing at the University of Arkansas in the NIL world, but we're not where we need to be. I will tell you, the upper echelon of the SEC in football is probably spending double of what we're spending on our football program right now in the NIL space. That's reality. So, I mean, you can blame that on Sam Pittman, but it's not Sam Pittman's problem. It's his problem, but it's a money problem, right? Because if someone's spending double of what we're spending, they're going to have a corner on the market. And if we're going to compete, here's what I'd say, like if we're going to compete, and you gave me a chance to give a little sales pitch here. So Ole Miss, everybody loves that Ole Miss is in the top 5, right? No, we hate it. We hate it. Ole Miss has about 5,000 members in their football collective. 5,000. We have about 1,000 in our football collective right now. They have 5,000 members. We have 1,000. If we're going to catch up, like I'm going to make it so easy for you. If we could get 10,000 households across the state of Arkansas to give $100 a month, 10,000 households to give $100 a month all year long, we would be in the NIL game from a football perspective. It's that simple. But we can't say the Tysons, the Waltons, the Stevens, the Hunts, hey, they'll take care of it. Because they're not. They're not. They are so incredibly generous, and they have done so much for our program. But if we're really going to get a handle on this NIL and remain competitive, we need to rally people across this state, and we really got to take some pride in the Razorbacks. So, David, sorry you opened that door for me to have
that was
sales
outstanding.
pitch.
I thought that was some real truth there. So you're in the national. You're on the national scene, Hunter, in terms of policy and the playoffs, and people respect you. Do you see some hope somewhere on the horizon to get this under control?
I honestly don't. We have an opportunity through the House settlement for some revenue sharing. The revenue sharing is roughly $21.5 million that we'll be able to share with student athletes directly from our Department of Athletics budget, which would be great if we'd all agree that that's the cap. But remember, I said we're our own worst enemy in college athletics, and there's many schools that are already trying to find their way against the cap to increase that well past the $21.5 million. And so we could get our arms around it if we'd all agree to play by the same rules and not try to find that competitive advantage and that loophole that gives us a competitive advantage. But you mentioned we had our Hall of Honor this past weekend. And what I love about the Hall of Honor is we had 9 speakers, and they all spoke incredibly passionate about their time at the University of Arkansas, the relationships they built with their teammates over 4 and 5 years, the relationships they built with their coaches, the relationships they built with the donors and season ticket holders, and the pride that they had in wearing the Arkansas Razorback jersey. And I'm worried 20 years from now, when we try to put people in our Hall of Honor that are playing football and basketball at our institutions now, but they're only staying there for a year, and they don't have a relationship, and they don't have that passion, what are those speeches going to sound like, or who are we going to put in there? Because we're not teaching great life lessons to young men and young women by just letting them bounce around from school to school.
Two more questions, and I'll let you go. By the way, this Razorback jacket, I know you have one of these.
I do.
John Daly gave me this. No comments. John and I might be the same size now, maybe. And I love John, every ounce of him. So one of the things that you said, Hunter, when you were hired, that you were not a big fan of the way college business was done in terms of hiring coaches. Next week we have Jimbo Fisher coming here, who obviously had a buyout of $77 million. Rumor is this week down in Gainesville that Billy Napier may be bought out for $27 million. Have you seen any progress? It looks like, if that's true, that the model of these contracts of huge buyouts are maybe still there. Thoughts on that as an administrator?
Well, it's a bad practice, but I'm not sure it's a practice you can get away from. But I will say, when we did our initial contract with Sam and then our second contract with him, we have a clause in his contract that if I let him go and his winning percentage is 50% or below, he gets 50%. If his winning percentage is above 50%, then he gets 70%, because Texas A&M, and they have to make decisions that they think are right, but they keep firing coaches that are 8-4, 8-4, 8-4, 8-4, 8-4 for the most part. And so coaches need some protection because these are high-pressure jobs, and there's lots of influential people within your communities. But there has to be some semblance of order in these contracts for sure.
Last one. I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this, but number 8, if we can, Anita. So Frank Broyles, obviously everybody in this room, including you, is sort of standing on his shoulders, just like I'm standing on the shoulders of Freddie Marshall. So I always thought, you didn't get a chance to meet him, did you? Did you ever get a chance to meet him?
I did not.
So I think he actually passed away the year you were hired, somewhere in that same year. So I was just curious, if you had a chance to sit down with Coach Broyles, first of all, what do you think he would say about the job you've done and about the legacy that you've been able to continue? And then maybe what are some things you would share with Coach Broyles about where you are as an AD?
Well, I think Coach Broyles would probably question why Arkansas is playing other Arkansas teams, right? once we got past that part of the conversation, I hope he saw the pride that I have in the job that I'm doing at the University of Arkansas, and the pride I have for the Razorbacks, and the pride I have for the state, because I think that's something that he held very near and dear to his heart. He, like myself, he was not from the state of Arkansas, but quickly adopted this as his home state, was passionate about his job, passionate about the Razorbacks. And so I hope he sees that in me, is that the pride I'm taking in this job, and that I love living in the state of Arkansas. And at some point in time, you guys are going to call me an Arkansan, I think. Maybe it's 7 years in. I hang out with Kevin Traynor a lot, and Kevin does a great Coach Broyles impression, and he's told me many stories about him and his management within the department and how he treated people and the type of leader he was. And so I feel like through Kevin, I've gotten a small glimpse into who Frank Broyles was as an administrator and as a person.
Yeah, I think we'd all agree. He heard Sully's introduction, and I don't think we could have anybody doing a better job than this guy right here. Let's get it for Hunter Yurachek, everybody. Thank you, Hunter. Jimbo Fisher next week, everybody. All right, if you want to get a picture with Hunter, we'll do sponsors first, 50-yard members next, and everybody else after that.